this is it exactly. How do you handle a financially illiterate wife or a husband? Or should I say, how do you handle a financially illiterate partner that you do live with? By the way, if you guys, you do ignore the part of the finances, it actually plays a very, very vital role. And what exactly can you do so that you can handle that thing? By the way, I always remind you that over 75% of the divorces that we usually experience, it is because of the finances. And if you get it right when it comes to the finances, and by the way, I know you're like, okay, fine, I'm not married. Should I even watch this video? Yes, you should watch it, because if you're dating, these are the topics that you're supposed to talk about before you get on board, all right? And by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscription button so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video. And you're here, a returning subscriber, thank you very much. Make sure that you hit that like button as well. Push this video to the next and share it in your position too. Let's get into business now. Here we are. See, you have this partner with you that you do live with, and you've realized one thing. This guy is okay, fine, they're amazing, social life, it's okay, everything is going good. But when it comes to the finances, we have a glitch. There is something that needs to be readjusted. Now, how exactly do I handle it? And how exactly do I actually show them that you're not getting it right away? And this is exactly how you can go about it. That is exactly what we're going to talk about. Now, see, what you do, first of all, the very first thing I always tell you that we human beings are made up of different characters. Even when it comes to finances, we are made up of different characters. We have people who respond to money differently. And let's check out. The first thing that you're supposed to do, yes, they're financially illiterate, but what kind of a financial personality do they possess? For the first thing, you have to check whether are they spenders. Yes. By the way, you might have somebody who lives with you. They're financially illiterate, but they are not spenders. When you tell them, let's invest, they're always skeptical. Hey, what if the money get lost? What if we do this? And all those kind of things, all right? So you feel like they're kind of pulling you back. All right, now, so you have to identify, are they spenders? No, they're not spenders. Okay, fine. Who are they? They're just holders. There are people who just love to keep money, they don't want to invest. Or maybe, yes, they are spenders. Okay, fine. Spending, there's no problem. But we have to go again and subdivide the spending aspect. Now, they are spender doing so. They spend their money consuming it, or they spend their money buying things that they actually just love to buy, the things to consume, or they spend the money to invest. You really have to understand. Again, by the way, we do have some people who overinvest. Okay, do we even have something like over-investing? We have these kind of guys who, when they get the money, they don't even have the cash flow. Let's buy the asset. Let's buy the asset. They invest, but the way they invest is actually ill-timed. It is not the best way. It is not actually the best time to do exactly what it's okay. It's an amazing thing, but they end up buying something. For example, I made a video here when we talk about lands. When is the appropriate time to buy land? What are you supposed to do? What are the alternatives in place of you going for a land and what have you? So you may have some guys who just actually pick the money and goes and invest actually. So once you define which kind of a personality they are they minimalist? They're actually minimalist, so you can call them stingy, you can call them frugal, all those kind of things, or hoarders. Okay, now the first step is to identify their personality. So the moment you identify their personality, now you know, hey, guess what? I'm approaching a spender who spends on consumption. I'm approaching a spender who spends on investing, on things, all those kind of things. Okay, now after doing that, you go to the next level. Now, the next level, what you're supposed to do is that do not judge or shun judgment. Guess what you're supposed to do? To educate. But don't educate with this kind of like, hey, you know what? I think you're the one who makes me not develop. The time I came with you, by the way, I was doing good when I was alone. Now here, look at where we are. We're actually getting some problems and what have you. And I think don't approach them on that perspective. Approach them on the basis of, hey, okay, fine. See, this is where we are. And by the way, it's good to approach individuals when you use the term collectively, either I or we rather than you. Because the moment you approach someone with a you kind of make them feel like they're the bad person in this equation. What you're supposed to do, you shun the judgment part of it. What do you call it? Incorporate what we call the education. Approach them with an education kind of a purpose. You see, there are some of the social aspects or factors that you have to consider before you approach them, because you're the one who knows your partner. What do they love most? Where do you take them? And when you take them, they are so happy. And the moment they are happy, that's when you kick those, those kind of things. Okay, fine. You see, the moment, for example, let's say there is a sort of a small wrangles in the house, and now that the time you're introducing the financial things, but no, that's not the best time. The best time is when you guys, you're happy and all, but don't talk about these things when you're on the bed, okay? Let's go to the point number 3. The point number 3, what you're supposed to do, use simplistic financial tasks to do what? To explain your point. For example, you can tell them, hey, you know what, my dear? Okay, fine. See, we have this amount of money. I gave you this. By the way, if you were to use this one in place of this one, guess what happens now? You tend to get this and this with this kind of a price. But if you do not do this and this, you're going to get this and this. And by the way, guess what? If you do this continuously, instead of you going grabbing that coffee each and every time, guess what happens now? We can go grab that coffee making machine. You love coffees, right? Fine. I'm not telling you to stop eating coffee or drinking coffee rather. Go ahead and let's grab that machine that makes coffee, bring it out here home, okay? And then we can have those packaging things and what have you. Guess what? We are doing all this because of our kids, okay? Or maybe we don't have the kids, but we're doing these for the sake of us. One day we want to drive, we want to buy a house, we want to do this and all those kind of things. You try to bring them in as perspective, okay, fine, wow. See, this is what I've been getting wrong. This is what I've been, let's say for example, you're dealing with a husband who just loves to buy a car, regardless of them, you guys having a home and anything, paying the school fee. The guy just thinks about the car, about the car. You can actually tell them, okay, fine, I know you love a car. And by the way, guess what? I also love a car. That's an amazing thing. It's a good thing to have. But I guess this is how about we do this? How about we approach it on the other way around, okay? Instead of using the route that you're applying it, instead of getting all this money resting somewhere. For example, there was a time I was giving you an idea of getting a home. For example, when it comes to owning a home issues, very emotive issue, especially when talking to a family. So you tell them, okay, fine, okay, fine. We do have the 5 million with us that we can be able to own a home. But what if we were to do this instead of actually getting the money and go to build the home? How about we invest on bonds and then we borrow against the bond and then we get the money, build the home, and after the bond maturation, guess what will happen? We have our home, we have the money, and we have an interest on top of that. How about that? See, we can do this and this and that. And the moment you realize that they're not understanding, they don't conceptualize that, they don't really understand the thing, take a little bit of your time. And that's when I introduced the kind of 5th point, but I'm going to go back to the other point, is that seek professional guidance if need be. All right. For example, you're explaining a thing and then you realize, okay, if I tell them this way, then they might actually think I'm telling them this way because because they think like it's the one that is actually benefiting me. No, that's now when you bring the third partner. Or you can actually tell them, guess what? I'm going to give you that task. Go check or go seek for a good financial advisor who can actually talk to us. The moment you task them with that responsibility, go seek for because sometimes you can bring a financial advisor and you are the one who want to explain them something, and then they feel like you're bringing somebody who actually dances on your tune. So it is good to bring somebody else extra there. You tell them, go ahead and bring me a financial advisor. Don't bring him your friend, all right? Because I'm likely to get the biased information. Go bring me a neutral individual. You can go to social media. You can go to those companies. You can go to Good Joseph, grab the number, bring him on board. Let's have a discussion, be it either physical or Zoom or Google Meet or whatever the thing it is. Then we can have a discussion and get to see. And guess what happens now? You're going to have the right to say anything that you want. And guess what now, babe? If it happens that he actually provides an information, probably I may not love it, you may not love it, but it's a thing that benefits both of us. Do you agree with me that we're going to pick that thing? That is exactly how you go about it. It's all about education, it's about handling them, okay? Now, by the way, at the end of this, I'm going to share with you some of the things that you can do in case everything goes south. You cannot be able to handle it, okay? Now, let's go back to a little bit of up there because there were some of the points that we did skip. Now, that was the point number 4. Lead by example. There is no way you can talk to somebody about, minimalism, about, it is good that you guys, delay the gratification. For example, say I know most of the Africans can relate to this. Maybe the Western world may not. See, we do have this kind of families whereby the husband gets in the morning. And I'm saying the husband because in an African setup, men are the one who provides. That's a reality. Unless you guys, you change the thing. I'm used to that, okay? If you guys change the thing, maybe you can say it on the comment section. So now, see, you wake up. There's this kind of a family that the guy wakes up and then he gets money from pockets or whatever they place. And then he gives the wife for that day's consumption, assuming that the wife is not working somewhere. And then what happens is this. Now, this guy, he actually explains to the lady, guess what? I do not have the money. Try as much as you can, survive on this cash because I do not have any other cash and something so. And then you come at the evening, you've squandered a lot of money. Let's say maybe you left like 1,000 bob, in a day, and then you went out there, you actually did drink like 2,000 or 3,000. There's no way you can tell us, let's survive on 1,000 bob. All of us, you included, and then you yourself, you're surviving on 2. It does, even on 1, it doesn't make any sense. So when you actually incorporate things to do with frugality, things to do with, we actually gonna survive on minimalism. It has to actually be a replica of what you're doing. You're supposed to lead by the example, telling them, hey, guess what happened? This is what I do. This is what you can do. By the way, this is what I do. By the way, you can actually check about what if you had to use this method instead of this one and the other one. And that way, you actually try to trigger a certain point of them so that at least they can be able to surrender their character. Because guess what happens now? Most of the people I came to realize the moment you try to show them that they do not know something, instead of them opening the guards or putting the guards down to actually learn, they develop what you call the defense mechanism. The moment they put that wall of defense mechanism, hey, guess what? That's how I was. For example, there was a couple I did handle one day, and those guys were almost fighting on a Zoom because the moment you tell somebody something, they develop that defense mechanism. They don't want to open the guards for them to learn. They're not ready to learn. They are there to defend why they do that. And the moment you approach life with, I'm here to defend why I do that, to justify, you never learn. What you do, you shut up, you listen, you put away what you believe in, you unlearn to relearn. You get what I'm saying? That is exactly how you go about it. And that is actually how you find solution of different problems. And not only finances, but also the social aspect. But here we talk about finances. Let's go to another point. The other point is that there is something called you celebrating what we call the progress. See, it is good always to appreciate the fact that, hey, guess what? Something has happened now. Guess what? I told you in a single month, for example, you tell her or him, take a pen and paper, go out and analyze how much do you usually spend, let's say, on your calling. Let's say, how much do you spend on your, say, eating out? How much do you spend on, let's say, going out with friends and what have you? Let's put it out there, okay? You have all the mathematics and put it and say, okay, fine, it's an X amount of money. Let's give it like 50,000 Kenyan shillings. That's what you use for you doing this and this and that. What if you do this, okay? I'm not telling you to shake them off, all of them all at once. Obviously, if you want to get yourself out of an addiction over something, you don't just switch off. It's not a machine. You're a human being. You really need to adjust yourself slowly until now you completely get yourself off that. Now, you see, you check that what you've actually been misusing against what you try to incorporate as a new character, as a new habit for actually to conquer that. And then at the end of the month, say maybe the task was about for a month, then run that what you've been doing and what you've done against each other and see whether there is something happens. And if there is any progress, no matter how small it is, celebrate that progress so that at least you can be able to pick something and move to the next level. So see, I've shared with you 6 points, actually not even 5. See, all those 4 points you can actually incorporate them. The first one is to identify their finance personality. 2 is to don't judge them. Approach them with a mentality of educating them. All right. Number 3, if that education may be a little bit tough, then that's when you do what? You can seek the professional guidance. Okay. And number 3 is that when you use simplistic informations of financial tasks for them to understand so that at least they can borrow from that. For example, when you're teaching kids things to do with finances, you can have like 3 sort of cans or something. You say, hey, guess what? If I give you, say, 20 shillings or 30 shillings, you give them in a loose form. You say, hey, guess what? I know you're about to use all this money, but that's not how we do it, okay? So what you do, you put 10 on this. This is a container. Well, this container, dad or mom, this container is actually meant for your spending. This is what you spend. All right, this is go, you buy your things, you buy your candies, you buy whatever the things you guys call them, okay? Now, the other candy, or rather the other can that you put some coins out there, is what we call a saving. All right, savings. So now, what is that can for? Okay, that can is when, for example, say tomorrow I was not around, and you want to eat your candies. No, what do? You pick from here, right? So now you got to introduce the concept of investing later, okay? But you don't just buy it. You buy it when dad is not there. There's no any other option. That's when you come to this what do you call it? The can. And on the other one, if you guys are religious, you can say, hey, guess now this goes for the sort of say helping people or personal development, the entertainment, or what have you. So you kind of explain that simplistic concept, such kind of a thing for them to understand. Just because someone is an adult does not mean they fully understand the concept of savings and what have you. The other thing is that you go ahead and do what we call the lead by example. Do what you say. All right, do what you say. Don't talk about something that you yourself they do not really, it does not even resonate. And the last one is that you actually go ahead and do what? Celebrate what we call the milestone that you've achieved as a couple, as a group, and that way, that is exactly how you conquer things. Now, let me ask a question. What if it fails? What if things doesn't go away? What if all what Joseph said doesn't work and you realize, I think I'm more alone on this? It happens. Sometimes you can throw the towel and say, hey, guess what? It is me. I'm alone on this when it comes to the finances, when it comes to investment. I'm alone. There is nothing I can do. And I have to appreciate that I do have a partner. She's not good at finances. He's not good at finances, but she or he is good at kids and what have you, the social life. Then I'm going to handle the finances part of it. I've ever seen couples who, when it comes to the finances, the guy exists on his own. The lady exists on her own. Why? Because even if you try to drag them along, actually it's going to cost a lot of time bringing them on board when it comes to investment. Such happens. But let it not be the basis of you saying, hey, let's go everyone on their ways. That is exactly how we do and try the best as we can to go ahead and handle when it comes the financial things. By the way, guys, that does not mean I've explained everything, the exhaustive information. This is a very broad topic. Probably I'm going to be making part 2, 3, 4, 5. It can actually end up being a season or sort of a series or something or sort. But anyway, all what you need to do is stick around. Go ahead and hit that subscription button, like the video, make sure that you pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video, just in case you need my services in one way or the other, either as an individual or as a couple or as a group. Anyhow, go grab that number, shoot me a call, let's talk about something and grow ourselves to the next level. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.